The Ashtavakra Gita, presented by Svayam Prakash Sharma, part 16. The 16th part of the Ashtavakra Gita consists of verses 57 to 70 of chapter 18, in which Ashtavakra continues with his discourse on the goal of natural samadhi. Chapter verses 57 to 70. Continuing his discourse on natural samadhi, Ashtavakra says, the ordinary man who is still ignorant, his sense of duty is the mundane world. It is the duty that is enjoined on him by the scriptures. The person who is wise, on the other hand, he does not acknowledge any such mundane or worldly duty. He does not acknowledge any duty that is enjoined on him by the scriptures, since he is of the form of void, meaning that his meditation has led to the identification of the body as having no form, as having no change, as having no duty, as having no stain or blemish, and as transcending all human conditions, as going beyond all human conditions. He clearly understands that all activity is Brahm. The person who is ignorant, he is distracted even when he is doing no action. He is distracted even in inaction. This is because the mind of the ignorant person is always in commotion. His mind is always in turmoil. The adept one, the one who is wise, on the other hand, even when he is doing his duties, he remains unperturbed, he remains undistracted, and he remains undisturbed. Even when he is engaged in the practical affairs of life, the man of wisdom sits contentedly, he sleeps contentedly, he moves about contentedly, he speaks contentedly, and he acts contentedly. The wise person, even when he is engaged in practical life, he does not have any distress like the ordinary person because of his inner disposition, because of his inner nature. Such a yogi is an infinite and tranquil reservoir of Atma Aram, of bliss in the self, bliss in the Atma, with no fluctuations of the waves of the mind. He is always unperturbed and he shines as a vast lake with all his sorrows extinguished. The withdrawal of the ignorant because of ego sense is transformed into action, while the action of the wise person, because of absence of ego, shares in the fruit of withdrawal. Everything depends upon the presence or the absence of sense of ego in a person. The person who is ignorant, he very often shows non-attachment to his possessions. He very often shows non-attachment to what he owns, to what is his. What attachment or what aversion is there for the person whose love for the body has melted away? For the person whose love for the body has melted away, there is no attachment and there is no aversion. The view of the ignorant is always addicted to either thinking or to no thinking. The ignorant person is always addicted to either thinking or to no thinking. On the other hand, the view of the person who abides in the self, who abides in the Atma, in spite of his thinking of objects, represents no thinking. A person who abides in his true self A person who abides in his true Atma or pure consciousness, his thinking in respect of objects is no thinking in view of his complete absence of ego sense. The sage who moves about like an innocent child, without desire in all his undertakings, and who is pure, he has no involvement in the action that is being done. The knower of the self or the Atma, who is the same under all conditions and under all circumstances, and whose mind is free from thirst, whose mind is free from longing, while he is perceiving, while he is hearing, while he is touching, while he is smelling, and while he is eating, while he is doing all this in the realm of the senses, such a one is surely blessed. For the wise person who is always changeless, who is always free from the fluctuations of the mind, like the sky, where is the world? Where is the reflection of the world? Where is the goal? And where is the means? For the wise person who is always changeless, that is, who is always free from the fluctuations of the mind like the sky, there is no world. There is no reflection of the world. There is no goal and there is no means. For the person who sees the self or the Atma in the world and who sees the world in the self or the Atma, the world has no deceptive appearance or reflection, as in a mirror of the finite, of the ever-changing mind. Such a one renounces all goals of desire and becomes the embodiment of perfect bliss pertaining to his essential nature. Glory to him who abides in his natural samadhi, which is not only boundless but which is also continuous, and whose continuity is sustained by the perennial joy which is the essence of the Atma. Glory to him who abides in his natural samadhi, in the unlimited self. At this point, there is no need to say more. The wise man who realizes the truth, the wise man who attains the truth, he is free from the desire of both enjoyment and emancipation. And he is devoid of passion everywhere and at all times. What remains to be done by the person who is pure intelligence and who forsakes the phenomenal world that begins with Mehet or with cosmic consciousness springing from nature, Prakriti, and so on, which world is manifested through mere name, which is the result of illusion or superimposition by the ignorant deluded self. The person who is pure intelligence and who has forsaken the phenomenal world that begins with Mehet or cosmic consciousness, which world is manifested because of ignorance. For such a one, there is nothing that remains to be done. He does not need to do anything at all. All this world springs from ignorance. Nothing here exists in reality. The man of pure intelligence knows this for certain, and he also realizes that the self alone, that the Atma alone is effulgent, and that it is the self as the Chinmatra. It is the Atma as the Chinmatra that produces and encompasses the phenomenal world. He knows that nothing exists beyond the resplendent self or Atma. The Atma that is beyond conceptualization. that makes the phenomenal world, including the mind, manifest. It is the Atma that makes the phenomenal world, including the mind, manifest. Then, having known all this for certain, the man of pure intelligence becomes tranquil by nature. Yes, the man of pure intelligence becomes tranquil by nature. This concludes part 16 of the Ashtavakra Gita, that consists of verses 57 to 70 of chapter 18. Om Shanti 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 Om.